I will bring the Commissioners Personnel Committee meeting to order. And for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Okay. The agenda is adopted. Public comment. Do we have any?
No.
No.
Not for me, anyway.
Okay. Jesse Osmer, County Administrator. You're up.
All right. So earlier this year, the board approved the formation of an opioid steering committee to disperse the funds that we'll be receiving annually over the course of the next 15 years. We're anticipating that fund to be between $100,000 to $150,000. It could be more because we noticed that some of the companies are actually paying far more than what the requirement is annually. My guess is just in order to get it done and over with. So they may have a little bit more money than that $100,000 to $150,000. So with that in mind, we did meet with individuals who were interested in serving on the committee. There were 5 individuals who applied. Originally, it was going to be a 5-member board. Those individuals are Jason Beatty, Mary Egan, Vicki Konchak-Miltz, Jennifer Graham, and Abe Brusky. I guess the one question I do have for the board is whether or not you do want a commissioner appointed to that board, or whether you just want me to maybe sit in, or a commissioner to sit in observation, to answer questions to that committee. Other than that, it would remain a 5-member committee.
Well, I think the nice thing about 5 members is you're not going to have an even split, or
Right.
I don't think we would have to really worry about that too much, but
I could attend the meetings just to answer questions without
yeah, that's fine.
no vote.
You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Yep. So it would be my recommendation that the committee approve those 5 individuals to be seated on that committee.
Make a motion to approve those
Support.
members to the opioid steering committee.
Motion has support. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, next you got the Plaza Pool.
As directed by the board, we did terminate the contract with Synchronization LLC. We are moving to formulate a plan moving forward, which would involve maintaining some of the staff that are currently working there. I guess my question is, there's approximately 12 part-time staff that act as lifeguards. These are high schoolers. Most of them don't even make it to 10 hours a week. These are usually returning students. So I guess the question is on background checks and drug testing. Do we feel it's necessary for those particular positions? Because one, they're high schoolers, so I don't anticipate the background checks are going to be very fruitful in finding much, I would hope. And again, these individuals have been working at the to date. So because of the size of the employees we would be taking in as part-timers, I was just looking as to whether the board wants to waive doing a background or drug testing for this
The
position.
question will be then, what do we do moving forward? Would we still do background checks? And again, I don't know how much turnover when we do the animal control, are we doing the same thing on them?
Yes, Under Sheriff Kroll actually said that he could do a local background check for these candidates, the lifeguards. And then there's also iChat that we could do for a Michigan-based search. It's $10 a person.
What's that?
It's a database for criminal histories for Michigan only.
For high school students?
Well, I mean, my stuff with USA Hockey, with now with Safe Sports for USA, all sports, anybody dealing with children has to be background checked.
Well, if those people are children,
I mean, if they're 16, 17-year-old kid, they have to be background checked.
okay.
That's according to US Olympic.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to be consistent with whatever we're doing. I don't want to just say that we're gonna not do it because they're kids or they're at the pool or whatever. We
But
just need to be consistent.
Yeah,
Can we
so
check with that?
we could do the local background checks. I guess the reason we question it was because although they're technically not employed directly through the county, they are indirectly employed through the county under contract. So they'll be maintaining current positions. It's not like they're
Yeah.
being shuffled, but
Are you saying when they become county, because they'll go on the county payroll?
correct, yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, well, rather than us paying their payroll through a third party, it would be directly from the county. Correct.
So I guess you're asking though, do we need to do background checks on them because they're currently through the contractor working for the county? Do we want to do a background check on them because they're gonna now fall under the county?
Well, we could do the local background checks. I guess I was more interested in the drug testing portion.
Do we know if they had background checks done with
I
synchronized?
tried finding out and I wasn't able to secure an answer on that, but I can probably get one with more time. I have a meeting this Friday.
Well, that could be a lot of drug tests too.
Right.
We could talk to Deputy Lash about that.
I mean, he did say he would do X amount per year, but I think that would exhaust the number,
It would.
Yeah.
which would then,
Well, if we squeeze it in this year and then we start anew next year.
I mean, the other thing to look at is we'd have approximately, as of right now, conservatively, we're going to be saving about $20,000 per year. These drug tests are what, $40, I think, or less to do.
I think so. Before we were doing drug tests and physicals, and those were about 110, 120. So if we're just doing the drug tests, it's about half.
Yeah, so I think we could probably just absorb that and it'd still be a savings to the county if we need to. So how about once I have this meeting on Friday, I can get clarification. If the tests or the background checks and the drug tests have already been conducted, I'll see if we can't just get those transferred over.
On Friday
It's just to discuss basically the transfer of some of these lifeguards.
with Plaza Pool
Yeah,
or synchronization.
so I can get clarification, but I guess if they come back and say, no, we have not done the background test checks again, Deputy Lash said he could do, but if they come back and say, no, they have not had drug testing, is that something this committee would like us to look into doing or because of the age and?
Well, go online and just look at it, background checks for individuals dealing with children. It'll give you a guideline of it.
Okay.
It'll tell you if you need to do it for kids, any adult. I know you have to do it,
Yeah.
but I mean, what are you gonna consider an adult, 17, 18-year-old kid?
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
okay.
it just gives a pretty good reason here why.
Okay, so other than the background checks, so the drug testing?
I would say no to a drug test. I really would. I think a background would be sufficient.
Well, if, I
We want
guess,
to be consistent too.
yeah,
We could talk to Lash and see how many he can do. I think that'd be a good start.
because if we kind of say, oh, we're gonna just take them, one time, good deal, I think we always need to be consistent with
Okay.
whatever we're doing.
With the drug test
Yeah,
off.
regardless of whether if they were already previously did drug tests, that'd be one thing, but if they haven't had drug test, I would say drug test them,
At what age? How old are these children? Like 15,
probably high school.
16, 17.
17, 16?
Okay, so we'll just keep it consistent then. And I'm sure we can probably even talk to Deputy Lash if things become difficult, you probably do it at cost, which would be a savings. So, okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, now we have Commissioner John Kozlowski up.
So we received a letter from Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health Authority from Eric Lawson recommending that we appoint it was Bob Adrian. Did he ask? I couldn't remember this. Yeah, just to reappoint Bob Adrian to the 3-year term.
On mental health.
And then is there the other one?
I think Jennifer Graham was the
Yeah,
second.
it's Jennifer Graham was the other.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendation for the 2 individuals for the Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health Authority Board.
Or
Can I have a support? Do I have a second?
Yeah,
I made the motion.
I support.
You made the motion, support. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Myself, we have went through and made recommendations to bring to full board. And I will read the names and the boards. For the Alpena County Library Board, we recommend Julie. And the second recommendation is Tracy Collins. And that is for the Alpena County Library Board.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry for clarification. Tracy Collins is for the partial term and Julie Burns is for the full term. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that's what we had, the partial for Tracy.
Thank you.
All right, Parks and Rec Commission. We would like Michael Rhodes for the Parks and Rec. And the other one is Pam Kirchhoff. Those are the two vacancies. Parks and Rec. The Alpena County Road Commission, we had the one vacancy. And our recommendation is Gerald Lucas. On the Planning Commission, we had two vacancies. We had Michael Kramer. And the second one was Carol Buboltz. And that is for the County Planning Commission. Okay, the next one is Veterans of Affairs Board. We had Bert Francisco and Stephen Murphy. And the next one was Central Dispatch. We had Edna Sorensen. And I believe that is all the boards.
Make a motion.
I have a motion.
Yep. For these
I'll second.
recommendations.
Okay, I have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, other
Just one question on that, because as I said previously, how do we want to do that? Because Bert had suggested that this just doesn't go on to the consent calendar, but, do we have further discussion? I personally think they just go on the consent calendar, and if there's further discussion by any of them, then we can pull the one specifically, because I don't want to just keep too specific out there.
Right, I mean, yeah, you have different boards, so I would just leave it as, I understand he doesn't want it on the consent calendar, but anything can be pulled off the consent
Off the
calendar
consent.
specifically. So if there's a specific committee that he'd like to discuss further, you could probably, you just have it,
Pull that specific.
just follow the regular protocol. Otherwise, I think it does open it up to kind of becoming
Yeah.
difficult because he'd be having to pull the whole section, and maybe he only wants to discuss one of the committees.
Well, I think kind of what I took from the email was that he wanted to have on discussion for the full board was, I thought it was the library. Was it just you and I that were on that email?
I think so, yeah.
Um,
So what we could do is just at the beginning of the meeting, without him having to ask, because he's already made the request, you would just announce that we're pulling that particular board off for
anybody for discussion.
discussion.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll make a note on that day. But he shouldn't have to request it because he's already put the request in. So you would just make that announcement at the beginning.
Okay.
other discussions? Hearing none. Employee separations.
We had one part-time corrections officer resign, one part-time animal control technician resigned, and then the Long Lake Park co-manager resigned.
What are we up to for resignations on the animal control for the year? Do we
I
have?
don't have a tally.
That's gotta be a huge number. That's probably our number one.
We have a lot of turnover there.
And as far as the one resigning from Parks, that goes to Parks for their
Mhm.
meeting. Yeah. All right, the next meeting is January 7th at 12 o'clock in the Howard Mail Conference Room. That's it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.